Audrey's story name is Audrey. I am 36 years old. I live with my husband, Peter. He is 41 years old. We have a son, Chester. He is 9 years old. Peter and I have been married for 12 years. We are happy. Or at least we used to be. We have a nice life, a house, and a garden. Peter works hard. He is a good father and husband. 6 months ago, we hired Ronald. Ronald works for us. He cleans the house and takes care of the garden. He also helps with Chester. He is nice and quiet. He always smiles. At first, I did not think much about him. He was just there to help us. One evening, I came home late from work. Peter was not home. He was still working. Chester was asleep. Ronald was sitting in the kitchen reading a book. I sat with him. We talked. He told me about his life. He is from another city. He came here for work. He has no family here and lives alone. We talked for a long time that night. After that, things began to change. One night, Peter had to go on a business trip for 3 days. It was just me, Chester, and Ronald. On the first night, we had dinner together. After Chester went to bed, I sat with Ronald again. We talked like before. We laughed. He made me feel good. I liked talking to him. Then something happened. I kissed Ronald. It was just a small kiss, but it felt big. I pulled away and told him it was a mistake. He said nothing. He just looked at me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I felt so bad. I kept thinking about Peter. What had I done? I loved Peter. I still do. But something was different now. I had kissed Ronald, and I couldn't take it back. I told myself it would never happen again. I promised myself it was just one mistake. But a few days later, it happened again. Peter was still away. I was alone with Ronald. This time, we kissed for a long time. It wasn't just a small kiss. It was real. And I didn't stop it. Now, I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I had a big secret. I didn't want to tell Peter. He would be so angry. He would never forgive me. But I didn't know how to stop what was happening with Ronald. Every time I saw him, I felt something strong. It was like a fire inside me. I couldn't control it. Days passed, and everything seemed normal. Peter didn't know anything. He came home from his trip, and life went on as usual. I cooked dinner. We watched TV. We played with Chester. But inside, I felt different. I was keeping a secret, and it was heavy. I couldn't tell anyone. Ronald still worked for us. He was good with Chester. He was always polite to Peter. When we were all together, everything looked normal. But when Peter wasn't around, things were different. Ronald and I would look at each other. We didn't talk about what happened, but we didn't need to. We both knew. I felt guilty all the time. When I kissed my husband, I thought about Ronald. When I was with Chester, I thought about the secret. It was always there in my mind, and it was getting bigger every day. I couldn't sleep at night. I stayed awake thinking about my mistake. I thought about telling Peter. I wanted to tell him, but I was scared. What would he say? What would he do? I didn't want to lose him. I didn't want to hurt him. But I had already hurt him even if he didn't know. One night, I was lying in bed next to Peter. He was sleeping. I looked at him and felt so sad. He didn't know what I had done. He trusted me. He loved me, and I had broken that trust. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I just lay there thinking about my mistake. A few weeks later, something changed. I found out that Peter was also hiding something from me. He had been seeing someone else. I didn't know who she was, but I saw messages on his phone from a woman. At first, I was angry. How could he do this to me? But then I realized I had done the same thing. I was no better than him. We were both living a lie. Now everything was even more complicated. We were both keeping secrets. I didn't know what to do. Should I tell him about Ronald? Should I ask him about the woman? Or should we both keep quiet and pretend everything was fine? One night, I made a decision. I couldn't live like this anymore. I couldn't keep the secret. It was too heavy. I had to tell my husband the truth, even if it hurt him, even if it ended our marriage. I couldn't lie anymore. I sat down with him after dinner. Chester was asleep. Ronald had gone home for the night. I looked at Peter and took a deep breath. "Peter, I need to tell you something," I said. He looked at me confused. "What is it?" he asked. "I've been seeing someone," I said. I couldn't look him in the eye. There was silence. Then he spoke. "Who?" I told him everything. I told him about Ronald, about the kiss, about the nights when he was away. I was afraid he would leave. I was afraid he would yell, but he didn't. At last, he spoke. "I've been seeing someone too. Now it was my turn to be silent." I didn't know what to say. It began a few months ago. I didn't mean for it to happen, Audrey, but it did. "I'm sorry," he said. We both sat there, not knowing what to do. We had both made mistakes. We had both hurt each other. But now there were no more secrets. We decided to talk, really talk. We spoke about our marriage, our mistakes, and what we wanted. It wasn't easy, but we both agreed that we still loved each other. We didn't want to end our marriage. We wanted to try and fix it. The next day, we made some changes. We let Ronald go. It was not easy, but it was the right thing to do. Months passed, and slowly things got better. Peter and I worked on our marriage. We spent more time together. We talked more. We were honest with each other. When Ronald left, it felt strange at home. The house felt quiet. Chester missed him. He asked where Ronald had gone. I told him Ronald had found another job. It was the hardest part of all this, trying to keep the truth from my son. Peter and I went to marriage counseling once a week. At first, it was hard. We had to talk about our mistakes, our feelings, and why we did what we did. The counselor asked questions that made me think about things I didn't want to think about. "Why did you kiss Ronald?" The counselor asked. I didn't know how to answer. I loved Peter, but I still kissed Ronald. Why did I do it? I told the counselor that I felt alone. Peter was always working. He was always busy. Ronald made me feel seen. He made me feel special. Peter looked hurt when I said that, but it was the truth. We both needed to hear the truth. After I told Peter about Ronald, he didn't trust me the same way. He didn't say it out loud, but I could feel it. If I came home late, he would ask where I had been. If I was on my phone, he would look at me differently. I couldn't blame him. I didn't trust him completely either. Not after learning about the other woman. The counselor told us that trust takes time. She told us we had to be patient. I wanted things to go back to normal, but I knew it would take time. Every day I worked hard to show Peter that I was sorry, that I loved him, and that I wanted to make things right. Peter did the same. He started coming home early from work. We had dinner together as a family more often. One day, I asked Peter about the woman he had been seeing. I hadn't asked before because I was afraid. But now I needed to know. Who was she? I asked one night after Chester went to bed. Peter didn't want to speak about it, but I needed to hear the truth. Her name is Imagigen. She works at my office. He said down my heart broke when he said her name. I didn't want to know anymore, but I had to ask, do you still see her? No, it ended before you told me about Ronald, Peter said quickly. That made me feel a little better, but it still hurt. Peter had been seeing someone else while I was at home taking care of Chester, thinking everything was fine. It wasn't fair. But then again, I had done the same thing. We sat in silence for a while. Then Peter spoke again. I'm sorry, Audrey. I made a mistake. I love you, and I don't want to lose you. I love you too, I said, and I meant it. We both had made mistakes, but we both wanted to fix things. Months passed. Peter and I began to trust each other again. Chester was growing up fast. He didn't ask about Ronald anymore. He was happy and loved spending time with us. We played games, went to the zoo, and had fun together as a family. It felt good to be together again, but there were still hard days. Some days I would think about Ronald and feel guilty. Some days I would wonder if Peter thought about Imagigen. 1 year after everything happened, Peter and I took a trip together, just the two of us. Chester stayed with my sister. Peter and I went to a small beach for a weekend. It was the first time we had been alone together in a long time. The trip was good for us. We both wanted to stay together. We wanted to make our marriage work. On the last night of the trip, Peter surprised me. He pulled out a small box from his pocket. Inside was a new wedding ring. I want us to start fresh. A new ring for a new start, Peter said. Tears filled my eyes. I love you, Peter. I said. I love you too, Audrey, he replied. Now Peter and I are closer than ever. I'm not proud of what I did with Ronald, and I know Peter isn't proud of what he did with Imagigen. But we learned from our mistakes, and we became stronger because of them. Now I feel happy and at peace. Our home is full of love and laughter. We're not perfect, but we're real. And that's what matters. Marriage is something you have to work on every day. It can be hard, but if you truly love someone, every effort feels worth it. If you like this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.